Choral Insight, stories of choirs. Testimonies of choir directors. Good choir music to enjoy. Choral Insight with Dominic Ansari. Choral Insight is powered by Mido Productions.
Mido Productions, sound, audio, and video.
Hello, good people out there. Welcome to Choral Insight with Dominic Ansari. Today, if you look at my environment, I am in an office, a very unique office of a senior police officer. Well, I have not been arrested. I'm actually chasing to be able to talk to a senior police officer. You know that as directors, we like using the organ. But on the organ, we have stops like the trumpet. We have stops for trombone, or probably clarinet, or oboe, and stuff like that. But I can tell you that those sampled sounds never sound like when you have them in real life and on stage as well. And today, that is what we are going to focus about. Don't go anywhere. When I come back, I'm going to introduce my guest to you, and you will love speaking to him. See you on the other side. Welcome back. And today, I have in the seat a senior police officer by name Chief Superintendent Dr. Frank Hukporti. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
That's a very powerful post.
Well, we'll say thank be to God.
It means that we have a very senior and a learned police officer to lead music for Ghana.
Thank you.
Well, what does it take to really sit in this seat?
Oh, wow, that's a very powerful question. Well, I would say that it takes a lot of work. But I try to actually work things out to help myself, just to realize that I was preparing myself to occupy the seat.
Let me ask you, so are you the first PhD to sit on this chair?
Oh, for sure, I'm the first.
I think that's
not leaving this chair, but within the security services bands.
Wow.
I'm the first person to.
Well, I think that is no mean an achievement.
I think, thank God.
Yes. Now, what is the mandate of this is the Central Police Band unit?
Yes.
What's the mandate of the Central Police Band?
In fact, the mandate of the bands, we are supposed to cater for the musical aspect of the police service, and that is our mandate.
Okay.
But with time, I think we've also stretched our hands to others to also benefit from what we do. So I would say that it's not limited to the police only. You can also request for the services of the band, and we'll play for you.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Well, viewers, that is the reason why we have this episode. You just heard it from the mouth of the boss that the police band is actually available to all and sundry who would want to use the services of the military band. We would later on understand why I say the military band when I am in the police central band.
Okay.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We have known that the police central band is available for anybody who wants to use.
Yeah.
In fact, that's why we actually applied to come and interview.
Oh, okay.
So that Ghanaians will know that they shouldn't shy away from the police.
That's correct.
They can actually, in fact, I've met the police band at several functions, funerals, church services, and things like that. Now, last year, you made a lot of noise about the centenary celebrations.
That's correct.
You actually tried to get stakeholders and corporate Ghana, to partner with the police. Can you tell us, how did that go?
Well, I would say it went well with the support of, in fact, I was trained in Germany. So anytime there's something like that, I quickly rushed to the German embassy for support, which they did.
So getting on stage at the National Theatre, I'm sure, I'm aware that you actually staged a very powerful event.
Yes.
How did the public receive it? How did that event go?
In fact, it was received with a lot of applause, I would say this way. We did some few publicity. We went on radio, we went on television, telling people to come and listen to good music. I said good music because we tried to do away with a few of the Western pieces that we've inherited, trying to use African, pieces into what we do. And a few of the choral pieces that we also play, we try to rearrange them to suit what we do.
I see.
So in fact, the attendance was very massive, and at the end of the day, we also achieved, our aim of organizing a concert.
So it was well attended, and you were satisfied?
We were satisfied. We were highly satisfied. I remember we had to bring on board a few of our retired directors on board to, in fact, honor them, to recognize the services they also rendered.
And you also used that opportunity to outdoor your album.
That's correct.
How's the album doing?
Oh, it's doing well.
I thought you were doing brass. And what's this whole idea of mixing the brass with woodwinds?
Yeah, it started several years ago in Europe. When during the Napoleonic Wars, that was when this tradition began. In fact, Napoleon wanted his troops to march quickly to the battlefield. So he introduced the march tempo that we play today, 120 to a minute, left, right, was discovered by Napoleon.
I see.
So it was that concept, that period of militarism, it was a volunteer military. Europe, when this brass instrument issue started, everybody wanted to have a brass instrument or a wind instrument in his home. So there were a lot of guys who could play trumpet, some could play clarinet, some could play bugle. And then to make some noise at the battlefield, they decided to use some of these instruments. And they tried it and it worked. In fact, traditionally, woodwinds and then brass goes with strings in orchestra.
Yes.
But because they did that and it worked, they decided to adopt it. That is how come the name military band was associated to that practice.
So that's why you are a police band, but the band can be termed as a military band.
That's correct.
Wow, that's powerful. Now, coming back to the songs that you play, how are they arranged? I've heard some of the choral pieces that I still hear, I don't want to take it out of your mouth, but are you still doing 4 parts, or you do more than the soprano, alto, tenor, bass that we know?
Yeah, that's a good question. In fact, we maintain the 4 parts so that we don't derive from the original composition. Other than that, the composer will say that we have tempered with the music.
Right.
So what we'll do is that we maintain the 4 parts, and then we add other parts to the 4 parts.
Okay, so you play more than 4 parts?
We play more than 4 parts.
I see. And you assign the instruments to
all these parts. But we look at the instrumentation before we do the assignment.
Okay.
Perhaps you want a fanfaric effect. You can't give it to oboe.
Right.
So you give it to trumpet or the bugle,
sure.
So that it will sound fanfaric. So that's what we normally do.
Okay.
Most of them, we create an introduction to it before we begin with the main song. That makes it different from the choral music that people sing.
Okay.
But you hear the choral aspect at the background with other accompaniments that goes with it.
Added to it. Now, we are aware that youth choirs and choir work is springing up all around.
Sure.
In fact, it's not only in Ghana, but the World Choir Games, have taught us that, choir work really is coming back to the fore.
Yeah.
And we have seen people just using the organ. And I'm sure that probably they do not know the power of having the natural instruments, also adding up on stage. But hey, we are afraid of the police. And will somebody who has his own choir be able to just walk to Chief Superintendent, Dr. Hukporti, and say, I want 2 trumpeters, to go play with my choir on stage? By your mandate, is this allowed? And can individuals enjoy?
Yes, it's allowed. It's allowed. I want to say that the word afraid shouldn't come in this contest. In fact, we are humans like you. We're trying as much as possible to reach out to society for them to get closer to the police. And the band has been one of the major tools that we are using. In fact, during our centenary concert, we had a collaboration with Harmonious Choral. We did one piece called Nabucco, and we had to, team up with them and rehearse with them and then perform with them. It was so beautiful. Apart from that, there are other choirs that some of our guys, instrumentalists, are also choir masters in their various churches. And I always encourage them that they should use the band. People should know in their churches that they belong to the band. So anytime there is a small concert within their church, I encourage them to use the band to support their choir.
So the emphasis here is that if you have a program in your church or you have your personal choir, you can approach the police and also get some natural instruments to go add up. You may not take the whole band away, but I'm sure you can get some oboes here, some clarinets here, some trombones here, some trumpets here.
That's correct.
And then you spice the stage.
Yes.
I think that choir work must go beyond just using the organ. Let's bring more natural instruments onto stage. That's why we are giving you this insight. Let's enjoy a piece of music. The military band is different. Choral Insight gives you different aspects and wings of doing choir work. And today, the emphasis is on using natural brass and woodwind instruments to spice up your work on stage. Now, I come to marches.
Yeah.
On 6th March and on other national occasions, we hear splendid renditions of different kinds of, songs.
Yeah.
Now, marches are particular.
Yeah.
And I want you to educate us why the police would want to be doing marches. And these days, I have seen that whether it is the quick step march you're doing or the slow one, you're trying to use some of our local pieces.
Yeah.
Why the drift? Because we are used to the royal marches in Gavot and the others. And now, why the drift?
The drift, it's because I have different views to the drift, but I'll just limit myself to one particular scenario.
Right.
I remember we went to play at a sports stadium some years back. We played a piece called Match Militaire. And after we finished with the program, while we were exiting to our bus, somebody remarked, when I said, you know, if I didn't pay attention to it, but later on, after some years back, this scenario came back to my mind and I started questioning myself. In fact, we've inherited a bunch of scores that the British left. We have them. In fact, we've been playing British patches for several years.
For several years, several decades.
Several decades. And going back to that scenario, and after my training at the music school, I gave out myself a task. We have a lot of folkloric materials, Pentecostal pieces, high life pieces. I mean, you know them. Why can't we just adopt a few to see if we can use them? So I tried using Melanie Aye into a match. You know, match has a format. You don't have to just wake up and then write, take a piece and then orchestrate, and then that is all you are playing a match. You have to go by the format of a match. Other than that, there wouldn't be standardization.
Right.
That's what I stand for. So when I did it, I tried to use the match format, and it worked. So when I saw that concept, I tried to reach out to colleague musicians who are into military band, domain.
Right.
This is what I've done. Can you also do it to be a little closer to what I've done? So that at the end of the day, we are also coming out with our own style of matches.
Absolutely.
So in fact...
so that in the area of the military band, we are still not colonized.
That is correct.
We have independence.
That's correct.
And we can use our own music.
Our own music.
Right.
So that concept stopped at a point. I traveled for my studies, and when I was away, I saw something. I was invited to a military tattoo, and as the band marched into the hall, the piece they were playing, the audience sang along.
Right.
That indicates that
it's a culture. They know it.
They know the song. So
right.
It means it's their folk song.
Absolutely.
So if that is the concept, why can't we also use our folk tunes to write matches using the match format?
So how many have you done?
In fact, I can't count them.
Wow. Let's go to the band and enjoy a match that has been arranged by the maestro himself, Chief Superintendent Frank Hukporti. I have this question to ask. There is this little girl whose father just launched her music career, I think in Northwest Legon.
That's correct.
And I realized that the police band was there to support. That was humbling.
Okay.
What do you have to do with Erajua Oferibuating, and how come that it took the Ghana police band to go support that little girl to launch her career into music?
Yeah, it's true. In fact, the father, Mr. Boateng, happens to be a friend. He's a musician. So we've known ourselves for some time now. He came to me and then sold the idea to me that this is what he wants to do. And I said, well, why not? If we could give him some form of partnership, why not, to project the little girl? He should just give me a small write-up, and then we'll take it up from there. So that's how we began. And I also did that because my kids are also playing piano at home.
I see.
Yes, I've been looking at how we could encourage them. Can we have a kids concert sort of oriented, kids-oriented concert. So that has been in my mind for some time. So when he came with the idea, I said, no, perhaps this might be the right time to do this. And that's how come we supported a little girl.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. Well, the conversation is getting, more interesting. But to everything, there is a beginning and there is an end.
Of course, you are.
I want to tell you that I have approached the Police Central Band to request for trumpeters to play fanfare for a private event that I was managing. And all it took me was a letter and paying the right fees. And I want to believe that if you also have your concert and you approach the Police Central Band, they'll do same for you. My passion is to see that choral work moves to the next level. Keyboard is good, but it also has a lot of sampled sounds. And so let's begin to fuse in the natural sounds and make our productions even better than what they are. Until the next time that I come your way, this has been Choral Insight, the edition from the office of Chief Superintendent Dr. Frank Hukporti. Until then, or until the next time I come your way, this has been Bye from Choral Insight. See you.
Choral Insight, stories of choirs, testimonies of choir directors, good choir music to enjoy. Choral Insight with Dominic Ansah-Sari. Choral Insight is powered by Mido Productions.